So it's no secret that most top YouTube content creators like Linus Tech Tips, Gerald London, or Max Tech clearly read off a script. So should you start using a teleprompter for your new YouTube channel? Well, I've been using Elgato's all-in-one teleprompter for quite a while, and in this video, I will share my thoughts on whether or not this tool has really streamlined my video creation workflow. Now, what's funny for me is that back in the day, I was once naive enough to believe that these talented performers would memorize an entire script or improvise in front of the camera so elegantly. It was not until I saw Gerald Undon's video where he openly admitted to using a tiny little teleprompter, the Parrot teleprompter. So I bought that little cute teleprompter, which required you to slot in a phone. In the end, it was such a pain in the butt to use because it was so small. I hated using my phone. You see, I actually use my phone to monitor myself with my Sony camera, to set lights and, obviously take important phone calls and whatnot. And to be honest, I have no idea how Gerald Undon could have read from such a distance on such a tiny teleprompter using a 35mm lens, which needs to be pretty far away for his wide shot. He must have had LASIK eye surgery or just has incredible vision. I have pretty good vision, but I don't know, it's hard to see. Anyways, I later upgraded to a larger teleprompter, which was less cumbersome because it was not as difficult to slot in my phone. It was a little bit bigger. Didn't have that weird mechanism like the Parrot teleprompter where you had to like pop it in and slide it in, and sometimes it would affect your screen protector. Now, I really liked the improved size because it made it so much easier to read. And like I said, it was a little bit more streamlined because I could quickly place my phone or take it off if I ever needed it. And it did support a tablet, but it was nearly impossible to mount, especially given how heavy a tablet can be. Another annoyance or source of friction I had using a teleprompter, which needed your phone, was that it was extremely cumbersome to load your script into whatever teleprompter app you're using. So the problem became really exasperated when I often wanted to make edits to the script as I was filming. And there was really no good software to, edit your script and sync it through the cloud. Now, yes, there were some apps on Android and iOS that had cloud sync, but it was just very clunky and it costs a lot of money to subscribe to their subscription services. So enter Elgato's Prompter, which literally solves all the complaints and problems I had with my previous teleprompters. It's an all-in-one solution. So it's just one USB-C cord that delivers video and power. Connect to your PC, Mac, or even Android. So spoiler alert, I was really delighted that this made my content creation process so much more streamlined, not having to depend on a phone and cumbersome syncing apps and Android apps, just all on my computer or my MacBook, and it just made it so simple. All right, so let's talk about the form factor and just the build quality of this prompter. Now I have to say it's plug and play. So I plugged it into my Windows just using one USB-C cable and it automatically detected. I didn't have to install any third-party software. And I could just start dragging and dropping screens. I can rearrange my displays. So it was really easy to install. Obviously, you're gonna want to install the Camera Hub app, which has all the prompter software. And if you have a Stream Deck, even better, make sure you just load those special add-ons onto your Stream Deck so you can control the teleprompter. I'm gonna talk about how you can control it through the software a little bit later in the software section. So as soon as I connected it, I was immediately impressed with the quality of the large display. It is very high resolution, relatively speaking, for the size of the display. And I found that it was really easy to read text. I could put applications there. If you even had pretty relatively small text, like let's say you had a chat stream, it was actually very impressive. The brightness of it is quite bright, and I'm surprised that this is all controlled through one USB-C cable. So in terms of mounting a camera onto this teleprompter, it's really easy. So for your standard mirrorless or DSLR cameras, you have a thread. What you can do is put in a ring adapter, and that will make it compatible so that you could hook it on and put it in here so that there's no light bleed into the actual teleprompter between the camera and the lens. Now, let's say you have something like the Elgato Facecam Mark II, and you want to just mount it. So any kind of general webcam or anything that doesn't have a standard thread on the lens, well, you have this general shroud. What you can do is use the included mount, put the camera on, and then simply just put on the shroud, and then no light will leak in, and it works flawlessly. You can also extend this to use your standard phone. So if you have a smartphone, iOS or Android, you can mount it onto the included rack. You do need to buy a little adapter, which those are really inexpensive and very plentiful to find. And then you can mount your phone. So many options to install. Oh, and of course, if you have the Pro Facecam, they include a dedicated back. So it makes it very easy to mount their official Facecam Pro. Fortunately, it doesn't support the basic version, but yeah, you can mount it on to the back really easily using the included plate. Now, in terms of actually mounting this teleprompter onto something to give it extra support, there are a couple 1/4-inch screw threads, one over here at the center of the gravity, so the heaviest point, which I'm using right now. And by the way, I do recommend if you're going to be taking this on and off, I like to use Arca Swiss plates or even quick release plates. So you can see there's a 1/4 inch thread over here and one over here that it's already been occupied. And of course you have the cold shoe mount adapters. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. A lot of mounting options, makes it very easy to take it on and take it off. Now, of course, you can go as minimal as you want. If your camera supports it, it has a pretty strong, hefty lens, you can use the O-ring adapter, snap it on, and basically the entire weight of the actual teleprompter is hanging on your camera on the lens. Now, I had no issues using that on my bigger camera, on my bigger lens, my Tamron 20-40. But if I wanted to start mounting accessories on top of the actual Elgato prompter, then I needed some kind of support. So that's one of the downsides, is that they don't provide you with a support beam to kind of mount. You can basically use a C-clamp that mounts to the tripod on which your camera is situated on top of. Unfortunately, you have to buy that, so they don't include that as well. So one really nice attention to detail from Elgato is that they include 2 cold shoes at the top. And you can see that I have my mount and my microphone mounted on top of it, connected to my camera. And I have a tripod support, so to handle all that extra heavy weight. Basically everything is supported by this tripod down here. And I have to say, this has really made it into a very streamlined work process, because I can have my mic over here and it's extended as far as possible. You know, typically when you put a shotgun mic, you put it right here on the cold shoe of your camera, and that means that it's really far from your actual voice. So by having the mic as close as possible near your chair over here, it just makes it sound a lot better. And the same principle applies to light. The closer the light is to your face, the softer the light is, so it looks a lot more pleasing and more professional. So this is a really cool setup. You have everything set up over here, read off your script, and it's just super easy, all powered by one USB-C cable just hidden back over here. Now, in terms of the quality of the reflective glass, I have to say it is excellent. There's no color degradation. There's just a minimal exposure. You just lose a little bit of light from your camera. And I noticed what I really liked about this is that you can use a relatively wide angle lens. I actually tested it on my Sony ZV-E1 with the Tamron 20-40, and I put it all the way down to the ultra wide 20 millimeters, which is a pretty big field of view. This is a lot better than some of the other teleprompters, like the Parrot teleprompter I had in the past, which basically you would have these huge vignettes on the side and it would completely distort your image and it just wouldn't look good at an ultra wide. You basically couldn't use it, which meant that you had to zoom in, and that means that you have to put the camera further away in order to get a wider shot, and therefore it would be harder to read the teleprompter because it's further away. So the quality of the glass that you're putting in front of your lens is excellent, and it really works well at wide field of views. Now, the software that is included with the Elgato prompter is absolutely amazing. Let's go into a quick demo. That's the best way I can show you how well thought out the whole software experience is. All right, so let's go into OBS. Now I'm going to switch to tutorial mode, and then we're just going to show the desktop only. So now we are recording. That's one thing I really like about the Elgato Stream Deck, is that it makes it so easy to multitask. This is probably one of the main reasons why you want a Stream Deck, is to be able to switch between, let's say I go back to my face, go to tutorials, and I can swap between different types of outputs. And it just makes it so much easier than having to use key bindings, even on this very sophisticated reprogrammable keyboard. It's just hard to know what interface I'm using. This is way more contextual. Anyways, that's just a little bit of a tangent on the Elgato Stream Deck. One of the things I really like about it is that it integrates so well with the teleprompter, the Elgato prompter. So now if I go to the software, I'm just gonna go all the way to the top. So now we're at the top, then I'm gonna go into my prompter folder and it's gonna stay there. And you can see that OBS is recording over here. I'm not gonna press that. And I'm gonna show you what are the things that you can do. So I'm gonna hit play. And when I hit play, you can see it's starting to scroll. And this is one of the scripts I did for one of my monitors. And what I can do is that it really has this cool visual indicator of increasing the scroll speed. So I can go up, I go really high up. And you can adjust the increments and stuff like that to how fast you want it to go. So right now it's moving really, really fast. If I go back down, I scroll down, I go slow. Now I want to pause it. I'm gonna hit pause and then pause. So these two buttons here allow you to scroll up and down, and it's a very smooth scroll. It goes like paragraph and stuff like that. So I go up, 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 down, go down. And I use these controls all the time while I'm filming because sometimes it's going a little too fast for this segment. So I go up and down, I hit play, pause, I use these scroll buttons. And then this one is to go up a chapter. So just a little bit faster. I'll show you how that looks. So I'm gonna go up a chapter and then you see you go up there. So it's just a little bit faster. Now this other button over here allows you to toggle between your script. So you can click this and I can go to my screen. So I'm gonna tap it and then it goes to my screen. So here I can put any other app I want and there we go. So that can help me, I can frame myself and look at the camera and engage with the audience. So those are basically the main shortcuts that I personally use. I can switch back to my script, hit play, go up, down. If I ever want to go to OBS, I can quickly go to OBS. The Stream Deck just makes it so easy to use your teleprompter and OBS and just record. Like my workflows have been really streamlined. Now, of course, you can control everything with the software on the desktop, so you don't need a Stream Deck particularly. So I can hit pause, can hit play. So over here, the play pause, I can move to next chapter. These are the chapter linked by here. And I just copied this from Google Drive. So this was in my original script. I just literally copy paste, and here it kind of makes auto chapters. So now here we can change the brightness of the display, which is really nice. I like to keep it pretty low. I don't need it that bright, but maybe if you have like, you're showing a screen and you want that bright screen, it's very clear. The resolution is quite good. You can change the contrast. I'm not going to do that. You can toggle between different scripts. You can go into your chat, which I don't really use because I'm not a streamer. So here you can change the font size. You can increase the margin so that maybe you want to stay more focused and not move your eyes from side to side. Because if you have it out like this, then the audience might be able to see your eyes traveling from one side to another. So I definitely recommend playing with this. You can change the vertical margin. These are all very, very helpful. Increase the line size. I kind of like it the way it is. And then text background, opacity. Then we have auto chapter scroll. And then you also have this overlay, which is helpful to stay focused on where your camera center is so that your eyes don't gaze off. So I should probably increase the opacity of that a little bit better so I can see it. And just to give you a look of what the Stream Deck software looks like. So I can go in here, and then from here I can customize different settings. Like for example, here I have to change the script. I can change what it looks like. And right now I'm filtered by OBS. So here is all the options you have for the camera hub, and obviously a lot of them are for the prompter over here. I pretty much mapped them all over here. You can also have voice dictation, so you can click this thing over here, but right now I'm recording, I'm not going to do that. So you can just record, talk about your script, and then just voice it in. It's going to be a little bit faster. Obviously I use ChatGPT to revise my script. The prompt that I like to use is proofread this text, stay true to the original text, keep acronyms and blah, blah, blah. That way I still keep my written prose. It sounds like obviously less formal. This is a really good hack. So you paste in your kind of sloppy text, because when you're reading off a script, you want to make sure that you are reading proper grammar, because you might, when you're actually just reading off a script, you might make a mistake. So it's always best to proofread it. I'm using GPT-4. All right, so that concludes the software tour. So I've been using the prompter with the Stream Deck, and I have to say, just being able to pause and play has been so seamless, so smooth. Being able to quickly modify my script at the comfort at my computer. I don't have to use my phone and edit. It's such a seamless experience. It just makes it so much easier to, like, I want to use my teleprompter more because of how well it makes sense, right? It's a built-in all-in-one teleprompter. You don't have to have your phone there, edit from your computer, just film. It really does make content creation a lot more fast. Now, one feature that was completely unexpected to me was the native compatibility with Android. All you have to do is plug in the USB-C cord, plug it into your display link, and you just have to download one app, display link, and then basically you can stream from your phone onto this large screen. Well, that means that it gives you a lot more flexibility. You can be mobile, so perhaps you could mount the smartphone on top of the actual teleprompter. So basically you have an all-in-one solution. It's projecting the image onto the teleprompter so that maybe you want to be mobile and go outside. Another thing is that you can use Prompt Smart Pro, which is a really cool app that uses voice recognition. It recognizes your voice, so as you speak, the teleprompter scrolls for you. This is something that I really wish that Elgato could bring in their own software, but after using their software for quite some time and being able to quickly fine-tune the scroll speed as I actually speak and just really gauge it in based on the text and everything, I felt like I didn't really need the voice track feature. It was kind of like I didn't really miss it basically. And one thing I really did not like with the Prompt Smart app, even though it had that really innovative feature, was that it costs a ton of money every month to have it. So I never wanted to use it. So I was just like, you know what? I'm probably never going to connect it to my Android phone, but maybe on rare cases, it's great that it is offered and it's without any hassle. Now, in terms of iOS support, when I read through the instructions, I did not see any mention of iOS, unfortunately. So let me know in the comment section down below if you're able to get this working with your iPhone. So here you can see I'm using the Elgato prompter with my MacBook, and I still have the Elgato Stream Deck set up. And this time I actually set up more interesting commands. So here I can adjust the font, opacity, the line spacing, horizontal padding, vertical margin, and all that stuff. So I can go back to the main controls. You still get your typical speed controls, play, pause. So let's go to configure, and then you can see I've increased the padding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the font, and this is really nice. I can tweak it. So every time I set the Elgato prompter far away or close up, I can adjust this without having to reach my keyboard or anything like that. I can increase the margin here. So it just becomes very intuitive to use the Stream Deck to control, of course, the Elgato prompter. So here's my setup. And I got everything. I'm doing a review of this amazing split keyboard. All right, so I've been saying a lot of positive stuff about this Elgato prompter. What are some of the things I don't like about it? What are the cons? Well, the first one is that I noticed that it's a little bit heavier than my older teleprompter that I don't want to use anymore because it requires a phone, yada, yada, yada. And it's a slightly heavier. I'm going to put the specific grams on the bottom of the screen or show you a comparison. And so it makes it a little bit more challenging to mount this on certain types of tripods. For example, I like to use this tripod on my tabletop. Just mount my Sony ZV-E1 with a 2-pound weight. And of course, I need to be very careful. I have to make sure that the lens plus the teleprompter is extended over this leg so that it doesn't topple over. And then obviously, if I want to mount more accessories, I'm going to have to use a proper base tripod. And I found that whole experience a little bit difficult. So I kind of wish that Elgato would provide a kind of like a solved solution. I mean, this is one of the strengths of Elgato is that they make their accessories and software really, really easy to use. They're very innovative. I feel like they're the Apple of design for content creators. So I really wish they could solve that. Maybe they can provide an add-on just to make this the process even more frictionless. Another slight con, or something I would have expected from Elgato in terms of their software, was to actually provide that voice track enabled software. And the reason why I expect this is because we live in an age of AI where, things are so readily available. Like, for example, Whisper technology from OpenAI is open source. They could have packaged their software within a special add-on that is able to record your voice in real time and just scroll the text as you speak. I think that is going to make it a little bit more seamless. Now, like I said before, the software and the scrolling speed and be able to fine tune it as you go with the Stream Deck is amazing. So I don't really need it, but please, Elgato, please add that feature. I think it'll be really innovative and it would really make you well ahead of the competition. And my last and final complaint about this is that I wish they would provide a case or something to keep the dust away. One of the things I noticed with my old teleprompters, and I already see it happening, is that because it's black, it starts attracting a lot of dust. And I wish there was a very easy way to just kind of encapsulate it in some kind of cover. Obviously, I can maybe wrap it in a towel or something, but it would be nice if they provided a case or at least the option to buy one. So what's it like using a teleprompter? Maybe you're new to using a teleprompter. Well, I want to provide you some tips and guidelines that I've kind of gained over my experience of using teleprompters. Number one, it can look very obvious to the audience that you're reading off to a screen, especially if your text is really wide and you're kind of just reading, like moving your eyes around. So try to keep that vertical padding pretty small. Try to keep the camera pretty far away, not too close, because then obviously it looks more obvious. The viewers can see your eyes. Another thing which I mentioned before is to use ChatGPT to proofread your script so that you don't have any weird grammatical issues as you're reading it, because trust me, it's going to be really hard to read a script that you didn't practice. And that's one of the other tips, is to practice and practice. I personally don't do that. I just kind of write in the way that I want to talk. And then I ask ChatGPT to correct any errors while still staying very true to the text and keeping all the acronyms and whatnot. Because if you ask ChatGPT to improve your writing, it's going to add all these stupid words like delve and we aim and boast and all that stuff. And it's extremely annoying. Now, another tip to sound more natural as you're reading off a script is to not be so expressive, but not too still, and try to add in some fake pauses or mistakes, maybe to make it sound more natural. Like I said, you want to connect with your audience. You don't want to sound like you're reading off a script, which can be really bland. And that's something that I kind of don't like about some of the bigger tech YouTubers, is that it's very obvious that they're reading off a script, but they have really well-paid, high-paid editors that when they write the script, it sounds almost like they're kind of speaking more casually. So if you're really good at writing, this is something where you can really excel. Now, overall, using a teleprompter can definitely help you stay focused, especially if you're talking about a subject that you don't really know too much well about and you can't really speak through your own conscious and just stream words. Another good reason to have a teleprompter is if you're doing sponsored content. For example, your delivery needs to be within, let's say, 2 minutes. So it's very easy to kind of like craft a script and make sure that it fits in within that range. And another thing is that if you're new to YouTube, being able to write a script and stay very coherent and not go off track and just really stay focused and deliver as much value to your audience is very helpful. So that's why one of the reasons why I always use a teleprompter, or as much as I possibly can. Now, obviously, I've been really focused on one use case with this teleprompter, and that's to obviously record yourself in a fixed environment, studio environment where you have a script. But this obviously excels in other areas. For example, let's say you want to have a more engaging Twitch stream or a chat stream with your audience. So instead of looking to the side and like typing messages, you can look straight into the screen, see the text messages and say like, oh, hey, dude number one, really thanks for the money that you sent me over, or something like that. So now I'm not a Twitch streamer. I don't play video games or like program in front of live audience and like talk to chat. I've seen videos of how this is used in that context, and I have to say it looks absolutely amazing. Like I said before, the screen quality is absolutely amazing. I was very impressed with the sharpness of the display and how bright it can get. So you can easily read off stuff, and you don't have to like squint and stuff and look. Another use case that I actually use this camera with is doing one-on-ones with my manager or boss at work. You have the one-on-ones, talk to the manager, hey, how you doing? Well, it basically makes a more direct connection to the person that you're speaking. And sometimes you're talking to someone and you look at your screen and this is what they see. Hey, so in my stand-up, I did this bug feature, blah, blah, blah. But if you speak in front of the camera and you actually see yourself and you see all the people that you're talking to, or you have a one-on-one, it is just way more engaging. And I really like that kind of aspect of using this camera. So that's another use case. So whether you're a content creator, beginner or new, this is going to really help you. If you're a serious office worker and you want to impress your boss and connect with the people that talk to you, maybe you're a C-suite executive and you have to talk to a large audience and you want to read off the script to sound perfect, well, this prompter is definitely going to help you a lot. And of course, if you're a chat streamer, you want to engage with your audience, read text or multitask, it is fantastic for that use case as well. Overall, in conclusion, I have to say I definitely recommend this. It's a little bit pricey, but the fact that you don't have to connect your phone to this teleprompter just makes the whole process a lot more streamlined. And I think it's a really good investment in the long term. One of the things I like about Elgato, and you can see that I have a lot of their other stuff, like their foam pads, their microphone stand, the Camlink 4K. Everything is just so well designed, well thought out. I mean, they're based in California, American company. So they have a really good knack for making things very easy to use and making things effortless. And that's definitely this is the DNA that's extended onto this prompter, and it just makes things so effortless. So great job, Elgato, on making such a fantastic all-in-one package. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.